Good morning. Welcome to the live stream service at Two Rivers UU. We'll begin with Jimmy Burns' prelude in just a few seconds.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. And well, I've done lots of musical preludes for TRUU, of course. Usually don't repeat many within a year, but this one I felt was so good for today that even though I did it just a couple weeks ago, I wanted to do it again. It's a really sweet song, and I want everybody to feel like we're together on this Sunday morning. And because we are. And it's called Welcome to the Circle by Betsy Rose. Welcome to the circle. How far have you come? Do you need some company? A flower or a song? Are you feeling weary? Tired of being strong? Welcome to this circle. It's a place where you belong. Do you have a burden that feels too much to bear? Do you have a bitterness you don't know how to share? Do you feel too angry to breathe or laugh or pray? Well, there's no one in this circle who has never felt that way. There's no one in this circle who has never felt that way. Welcome to the circle. Whatever brought you here, the valleys or the mountain tops, the muddy or the clear, and know your work is worthy, and know your heart is true, and know that all you give away will come circling back to you. Please know that all you give away will come circling back to you.
Good morning and welcome to this online service of Two Rivers Unitarian Universalist congregation in Carbondale, Colorado. Due to the coronavirus, we are not physically gathered in one place, but our hearts are together. We welcome into this caring community all who have found us online this morning. Usually we are streaming the service from our pulpit in the 3rd Street Center, but I'm home visiting my family for a few weeks. So today I'm in Minneapolis and Jimmy and Christina are in their respective homes. We are so glad that you are joining us for this service. Today we are trying yet another form of technology to expand our options of being together. Our staff and volunteers are doing their best to keep us connected and offering worship, so thanks to each of them. I have 2 additional announcements this morning. If you would like to receive our e-newsletter, there is a place to request this on the homepage of our website, TRUU.org, TRUU.org. The board is preparing to make important budget decisions for the next 6-month period from July through December. Hopefully you've all received an email from our board president, Rob Benedetti, inviting you to a Zoom meeting tomorrow, Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock. If you cannot attend either for technical or scheduling reasons, you are invited to call Rob or our treasurer, Penny Ridley. They will gladly receive your input and answer your questions before the board meeting on Wednesday. Whether you are here for the first time or have been part of this congregation for decades, you are now part of this beloved community. We gather each week to support one another as we seek to live lives of joy, integrity, and service. During the service, you are welcome to post comments on the chat. My opening words and chalice lighting are by Nancy McKee. If you have a candle or chalice at home, please light yours with me. Our community knows no boundaries. We are not confined by the physical limits of walls. We are freer than we know when we release ourselves and each other from experiences of what is needed for true community. We are here together in space. I see you, I hear you, I love you, and I light this chalice, a beacon of this community, holding us all together, here, now. Jimmy will now lead us through our opening hymn, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." We'll sing it through 2 times, and rise in body or spirit if that will enhance your experience.
Tis a gift to be simple, tis a gift to be free, tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, it will be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning and turning we come round. Tis a gift to be simple, tis a gift to be free, tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, it will be in the valley of love and delight. And true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning and turning we come round right.
Please join me in reciting our covenant, followed by singing together Spirit of Life. Love is the spirit of this community, and service is its prayer. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of
And now our story for all ages. It's a book called That's Good, That's Bad by Marjorie Kyler. I am going to try and show you some of the pictures, and I hope that the screen works well for this. One day, a little boy went to the zoo with his mother and father. They bought him a shiny red balloon. It lifted him high up into the sky. Wow. Oh, that's good. No, that's bad. Because the balloon drifted for miles and miles and miles until it came to a hot, steamy jungle. It broke on a branch and popped. Oh, that's bad. No, actually, that's good. The little boy fell into a mud puddle, muddy river, and he climbed up on top of a roly-poly hippopotamus and rode to shore. Giddy up! Oh, that's good. No, actually, that's bad because 10 noisy baboons were squabbling in the grass by the river. They chased the little boy up a tree until he was out of breath. Oh, that's bad. No, actually, that's good. The baboons wanted to play vine swing with the little boy. What fun! So the boy grabbed a vine and swung out of their reach. Whee! Oh, that's good. No, actually, that's bad because the vine was a huge, scary snake that wiggled and jiggled and hissed. And that's really bad. Actually, that's good. The little boy lost his grip and landed on the back of a giraffe. That's good. And actually, that's bad because the giraffe leaned over to drink some swampy water, and the boy slid down its neck and fell into some quicksand next to an elephant. That sounds pretty scary, pretty bad. But maybe it was good. Who knows? The elephant grabbed the boy with its trunk and lifted him up, up, up onto its shoulders. Now that's probably good, don't you think? No, that's bad. The elephant grabbed the boy with its trunk and lifted him high, high up onto his shoulders. So that's good. Or is that bad? The elephant thumped along a grassy plain where it stopped to feed. The little boy climbed down its trunk and woke up a sleeping daddy lion in the grass. That's bad. Actually, though, that's good. When the lion saw the little boy, it licked its face and purred. That's good. No, that's bad. His tears made such a puddle. His tears made such a puddle that a stork came along to have a drink. It picked the boy up with its beak. Oh, that's good. No, that's bad. The stork flew the little boy across the dark, windy sky. He thought he would never see his parents again. Oh, that's really bad. Actually, though, that's good. The stork plopped the little boy right down in his parents' arms again. That's good. Now, actually, that's great. I invite you now into our time of prayer and meditation. I invite you to take a deep, long breath to settle your body, your mind, and your spirit. This making of a whole self takes such a long time. Pieces are not sequential. We work here, then there, hold up tattered fabric to the light. The self is not one thing, once made and unaltered. It's everything we come upon, make ours, all this fitting of what once was and has become. We hold in spirit all those whose edges today are torn and frayed. May they be strengthened. We hold in spirit all those whose threads feel broken. May their connections be rewoven. May we feel grounded by the sturdy roots below us. May the world's regenerative power rise up within us. May the shiny and delicate beauty we are a part of spin its magic and gratitude all the way through us. I invite you to speak the names of those you are holding close today. Let us pause to honor all that's been spoken and remains unspoken in our hearts and minds. Blessed be. And now, Jimmy has another piece of music for us. So our reading this morning is a fairly famous Chinese folk tale that goes like this. Long ago and far away, there lived a widow who had a beloved son. And mother and son raised horses, but their stock was low and not the best quality, except for their one prized stallion. And one day the stallion rode away. The neighbors came by saying, "Oh, how terrible, your horse has run away." But the widow replied, "Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good, I don't know." A few days later, the horse returned, bringing a whole herd of wild horses with him. And the neighbors returned, rejoicing, "How wonderful!" But the widow said, "Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, I don't know." When the son began training the wild horses, he was thrown and injured. Again, the neighbor said, "Your poor son is hurt. What a tragedy." And the widow said, "Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good, I don't know." The following day, agents from the emperor came to the town. All able-bodied young men were to report immediately to join the army, for the country was at war. But the agents didn't want the widowed injured son. And the neighbors said, "Ah, your son doesn't have to go to the army and risk his life. You are so lucky." And the widow said, "Maybe that's good, maybe that's bad, I don't know yet." Jimmy has a really special song for us now.
Yeah, well, this tune came to us through a man named Doug Seeger, who was, well, I'm not going to give away the story because Laurie is going to tell that later. But as I see him on YouTube, he's a very polished man in his 60s, singing country music, and he's a great country singer songwriter. And this song was what made him, when he was in his 60s, into the position as an internationally known musician that he's in now. It's called "Going Down to the River." I'm going down to the river, gonna wash my soul again. I've been running with the devil, and I know he's not my friend. Well, I've been falling by the wayside, living in this world of sin. I'm going down to the river, gonna wash my soul again. I'm going down to the country, gonna bury my head in the creek. I'm gonna jump in that water and baptize both of my feet. 'Cause everywhere I've been walking, I've been getting in trouble deep. I'm going down to the river, gonna wash my soul again. Well, this old world's gonna have in a handbasket. And if I don't get some restoration soon, I'm gonna end up in a casket. Woo-hoo-hoo.
gonna end up in a casket. Woo-hoo-hoo. I'm going down to the river, gonna wash my soul again. Sure, I've been running with the devil, and I know he's not my friend. I've been falling by the wayside, living in this world of sin. I'm going down to the river, gonna wash my soul again. I'm going down to the river, gonna wash my soul again. I'm going down to the river, gonna wash my soul again.
Thanks, Jimmy. It was really fun to collaborate on that piece of music and this sermon. Several years ago, I had plans for a spring vacation in Southern California. I was really looking forward to running on the beach. The day before Michael and I flew out of Minneapolis, I was lucky enough to join some of my friends in Minneapolis who are, like me, part of an improvisational dance group. That's the good news. The bad news is that at the end of the morning, someone accidentally twisted my torso in such a way that my lower ribs were bruised or the muscles torn. I could hardly sleep that night. I got up the next morning unable to bend over to tie my shoes or to reach up with my right arm. What a way to start a vacation. But there was nothing to be done. I brought along a bottle of ibuprofen and packed an extra novel. Our first morning in California was 80 degrees out, which is good, really good. And then with weather like that, I couldn't bear to be inside. So we went for a walk on the beach, a beach that was miles long, full of gorgeous white sand. Starting out with my sore ribs, I was feeling a bit discouraged. However, I hadn't walked more than 5 minutes when I found a sand dollar, whole and perfect. So I carefully squatted to the ground to pick it up and continued walking. I remember thinking, hey, I could bring this back to show the kids at church next week. So there I was, gingerly walking with my sore side, and then I found another sand dollar, and another one, and another one, and another one. And with each find, I laughed a little bit more. That morning, I found 31 whole sand dollars. Now that's good. So I carefully packed up those sand dollars and hand carried them home on the airplane, each one carefully wrapped in tissue paper. I couldn't wait to give one to each child that next Sunday and tell them the story. But you're not going to believe this. When I got home to Minneapolis, I realized the next morning that I had left the box of sand dollars in the taxi. That's bad. But who knows how the story ended? Maybe the cab driver brought them home to his children and they took them to share in their classrooms. I did have this one carefully stashed in my purse, and it made it back safely. I recently read online, That's Good, That's Bad story that tops mine by a mile. It's about a man named, yes, you guessed it, Doug Seegers, who grew up in a musical but poor family. Doug always wanted to make his way as a guitar-playing blues singer, but he married and had a family to look after. Finally, after raising his kids, he left home and hit the road. Before long, he was in Nashville, panhandling to live from one day to another. But still, he loved playing his guitar, and his favorite place to play was outside the Goodwill store. This went on for 2 decades, including some skirmishes with the law, mostly for drunkenness and trespassing. It was bad, pretty bad, and getting worse. Doug finally decided that he just had to clean up his life. Just a few months after Doug got sober, a popular Swedish singer named Jill Johnson, who happens to love old-style country and blues music, came to the U.S. with a camera crew and the goal of producing a TV documentary series. She hoped to find real-life blues musicians who sang with authenticity. Now, at this point, Stacy Downey enters the story. Stacy runs jam sessions for homeless street musicians at a community food pantry that she started. And yep, Doug Seegers was a regular spot. So it turns out the Swedish crew were filming when Doug wandered in with his guitar on his back to play. That's good. Jill Anderson tells, I asked him if he minded playing a song with the cameras rolling. He sat down and played this amazing song called Going Down to the River. Going down to the river to wash my soul again. I've been running with the devil, and I know he's not my friend. I've been fallen by the wayside, living in this world of sin. I'm going down to the river, gonna wash my soul again. The story goes on that as Doug Seeger played, Miss Johnson cried. And I'm not a big crier, she said, but he sang straight into my heart. It was so emotional, I wasn't really thinking. We just hugged and then said goodbye. Which is bad, because Doug didn't have a home or a phone, and when they wanted to find him again, it took some doing since his residence was under a bridge. But when Jill Johnson and her team did find him again, they asked him if he would come with them straight to the recording studio. Finally, when the TV episode about Doug Seegers aired in Sweden, audiences loved it. Doug's original song, Going Down to the River, topped the Swedish iTunes chart for 10 weeks. Doug was booked on a concert tour through Sweden, and now Doug Seegers just released his 3rd album. He makes it clear that he's not looking for fame or fortune. He just wants to give people hope that they too can find healing. And that's really good news. The Buddhist monk Pema Chodron offers this advice. Things falling apart is a kind of testing and also a kind of healing. We think that the point is to pass the test or to overcome the problem. But the truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together and they fall apart again. Then they come together and fall apart again. It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, for relief, for misery, for joy. She goes on to say, letting there be room for not knowing is the most important thing of all. When there's a big disappointment, we don't know if that's the end of the story. It may just be the beginning of a great adventure. Life is like that. We call something bad, we call it good, but we really just don't know. There is no doubt that this coronavirus pandemic is rife with bad news. People are dying. Some are losing their jobs and their dreams. Children can't go to school. Lives are disrupted in so very many ways. And the incompetence of our presidential administration is dangerous. The failings of our healthcare system are out in full view. The unnecessary vulnerability of the marginalized in our society is crystal clear for anyone willing to see. And yet, there is also good news. I went for a walk in my neighborhood the other day, and I saw some of the best of humanity. I saw several jam-packed little free libraries with people clearly, readily sharing their extra books since libraries are closed. I saw front doors and windows decorated with hearts and butterflies and words of hope and encouragement. I saw lots of sidewalks decorated with colorful images for everyone. I saw homemade signs of gratitude supporting frontline workers. And a parade of first graders in their cars with their families slowly driving by the park or the school, the elementary school, to surprise their teacher for her birthday. Their cars decorated with balloons and streamers, and the kids popping out of the windows with great big happy birthday signs. My husband and son made a labyrinth in the park so that people could come out and take a meditative walk. All over the country, thousands of people are making cloth masks for healthcare workers. Those with 3D printers are making protective gear at home to give to others. The Marble Distillery in Carbondale retooled its production to make hand sanitizer available for whatever you can donate. I scored a quart of it last week. Neighbors are looking out for each other. Children are coloring pictures for those who are sheltering alone. And inspired by the video of Italians singing to one another from their balconies. Over in Steamboat Springs, neighbors are gathering on the street at 7 p.m. and singing together for a few minutes each night. At the end of March, the UU congregation in Baton Rouge closed its building, moved to online worship, and 2 days later reopened as a child care center for children of healthcare providers. 15 years ago, my family hosted an exchange teacher from China. Her name is Shu. We've stayed in touch through the years, and when the coronavirus hit China, I emailed Shu to see if she and her family were all right. Last week, she emailed me, saying that she heard the virus was now hitting the US really hard. She insisted on buying and sending a box of 100 surgical masks, which are now on their way to my home from China. We are one world home. All of this is good, really good. What are you seeing and experiencing that is reminding you of the goodness of humanity in the midst of this tragedy? I put that question out for you to send me your responses, but I only got one, but it's lovely. I heard from Will Hodges and our sanctuary committee, and they shared that they have been conducting a letter writing campaign to the county commissioners calling for a moratorium on evictions and better communication about their economic assistance fund, particularly for Spanish speakers. This is great and compassionate news from our sanctuary committee, and I'm so grateful for their work. The French philosopher Desjardins said, "Someday, after mastering the waves the tides, and gravity. We shall harness the energies of love. And then, for the second time in history, humanity will have discovered fire. Now, in this time, we are rekindling the flames of humanity. As always, your presence in this community is your most important gift. At the same time, TRUU still has to pay our rent and other expenses. If you would like to put something into the offering plate today, you can do so on you. At the page, you will see an icon that looks like an offering plate. Of people who are watching our live stream services, and I am action, inspiration for others. And now Jimmy will lead us in From You I Receive, to You I Give.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
But not the warmth of compassion, the glow of love, the fire of commitment, or the light of truth. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And Jimmy will lead us. Peace like a river.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. Strength. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. Tears. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops heart, in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
While we are surrounded with so much bad news right now, please don't forget that the beauty of humanity is everywhere to be seen. I hope that each of you can take comfort and courage and hope from the kindness and compassion that is rising up in every little neighborhood, in every town and city. And remember, dear ones, that you are often the good news that someone else needs. Jimmy, lead us through One World Home.
Thank you, Laurie. Great to be with you this morning. Thank you, Christina, for all your help behind the scenes. Awesome. And thank you, everybody. Well, if you know the words, please join in and sing together. All the joys and the griefs, the colors and beliefs, the sunlight shines upon us all the same. Open minds, loving hearts, helping hands, it's a start. One world home, one world home, one world home. Open minds, loving hearts, helping hands, it's a start. One world home, one world home, one world home. One world home, one world home, one world home. Have a beautiful day.
Thanks for joining us today. Yep, have a safe week, everyone.